Hey there, it's Gabriel again. On this video, I want to talk about what you put your eyes on is what, and what you focus on is what you're going to get. And it's, people tell me all the time, they say, Gabriel, I want to change my life. I want more financial freedom. I want to take my business revenue to a whole different strata. Or I want to get out of this house. I want to move somewhere else. We want to move out of move out of the state. We want to buy an RV. We want to, lose weight. We want to get healthy. I mean, whatever it is, you want to create an empire, right? And the first conversation I have first is, all right, let's go ahead and talk about your day. You wake up in the morning and what do? And I say, well, I get up in the morning and, kind of drag myself into the kitchen and I get my phone and, oh no, I actually was on my phone for about 30 minutes before I got out of bed scrolling. Okay. You got to get on. And I say, you got to answer this honestly. What exactly are you doing? So they'll scroll on their phone. They'll meander out to the house and, oh my gosh, it's late. I've got to get to work. And then they'll panic to get to work and they'll go to work and deal with all of that and grab food real quick and come home. And then there's all these things they needed to do. But now they're too tired. So they run to the fridge and get something sweet or carb filled, or they grab something fast, or, they're exhausted and they want to rest, or they said, well, wait a minute, maybe I should focus on those things that are important. I need to go ahead and dig into it. And then a buddy calls them and says, hey, you want to meet me up here at the restaurant? And they end up going to the restaurant and having too many drinks and staying up too late and going. And this is day after day after day after day. Or they're dealing with a relationship, or they're arguing, or they spend all day long on social media trying to figure out how to be successful on it. And they'll pigeonhole themselves on real specific obsessive things. Some people are obsessed with just watching everybody else live, and they scroll on social media and they build this huge comparison, and so they feel like their life doesn't measure up because they're looking at this perfected moment blip on a screen that is somehow telling you that that's how their life is all the time. They don't have any struggles. They don't have to ever take a shower. They never smell bad, etc. They have all the money in the world and they're healthy and their relationships are fantastic. Well, I can tell you most people have horrific relationships. That's not true. Most people struggle with money all the time. That's not true. And so they're held hostage to this false image. And so when we find out what's going on, and even if the people are, I wake up in the morning at 6:30, I work out, I have a healthy breakfast, I go to work, I'm on schedule, everything is done in 15-minute increments on my planner, and my staff all supports me, I come home. Even if their day is super, super structured, that doesn't mean they're going to get to their dreams or their goals. It doesn't even mean that they're going to ever hit them, because if that's what they're going to focus on and that's what they're going to do, but they tell me that they want something else, or they want to take their life in a completely different direction, and they don't do anything to get it before them, they're not obsessed with that change. Instead, somebody would say obsession is somebody that is just, consumed with a particular thing, but obsession can also be being so routine in your life that every moment of your day is consumed with routine, and that also could be obsession if you really whittle down. And I always say, if you want to change things, what are you doing to change it? Well, I want to, usually I want change in my life means I want change in my life real bad. And that's kind of as far as it goes, and frustration settles in. There's all these crazy things. But I say, what are you watching during the day? Right? I watch, me personally, sitting here, 2 hours a day, probably, of very intensive mindset training and motivational content and exceptional life victories and people that overcome. I don't watch tragedies, criminal shows, CSI shows, detective shows, soap operas, talk shows, bantering podcasts. I don't do that. I find exactly what I want. I want my life to change, and I want to understand these concepts, and I focus on it. And I would say, what are you focusing on? If you focus on whatever it is you want truly, and you turn off all the noise, you'll get to exactly where you are. But you can't say that you want all this change and yet you don't do anything to put it before you, because everything else gets in the way. Everything. Some people just live drama-filled lives all day long, 24/7. They never gain any ground because it's just drama. They say they want change, they want their life to be better, they want a better relationship, but it's just full of drama. Everything is drama, everything is taken personal. There's an edge, there's a battle, there's a fight. When they drive up the driveway, there's tension in the house. They can feel it before they get out of their car. Every time they pick up the phone, there's tension. And you have to starve that stuff. Heard an old story where there's a black dog and a white dog a couple hundred years ago, where they used to have these dog fights, right? I know it's horrific, but this was the story. And they would have dog fights, and the guys that raised the dogs, well, they had black dog, gray dog, white dog, beige dogs, cream dog, whatever it was. And the crazy thing is, whatever dog the owners bet on was always the one that won. And the story goes, this cowboy came and he would frequent this stuff, and he would go, it never ceases to amaze me. Now, it wasn't a couple hundred years ago. For those of you that just tracked that story, it wasn't that. It was it's about like in the Western days, right? It was like the Old West. That's what it was. So the cowboy would come and watch these fights, and he finally asked the owners. He goes, "Look, listen to me. Every time you bet on the beige dog, it wins. Every time you bet on the gray dog, it wins. Every time you bet on the white dog, it wins. Every time you bet on the black dog, it wins. And it's almost like this whole thing is rigged. What are you doing?" And the guy said, "Well, it's really easy. The ones I feed win." And there it is. What you feed wins. What you starve loses. If you really have goals and dreams and visions, you need to feed it, feed it, feed it, feed it, feed it. Spend your life, spend your time, learn, consume, put yourself around it. Proximity, get the heck away from all of the same old people that are very happy with you exactly the way you are. Demographics, social circles, people groups, put yourself in uncomfortable situations to be around the people that are living the life that you want. Get to know them, listen to the conversations, just be a sponge. Nothing will change unless you feed it. You want to win? You have to feed your dreams. You want to get free so you can experience those things? Then you have to starve all the nonsense and don't spend 10 minutes on it. Period. I know this is easy. I know this is fundamental and simpleton to some folks. Go, "Oh, of course. Well, that wasn't that profound." Oh yeah, it's really profound, because the people that choose to do it, to feed their dreams and starve everything else, always get it. They always get it. And the people that say they have dreams but they never feed it just get more and more frustrated, until eventually they become a master at suppressing the dreams so much that they just give up on them altogether. So I hope that helps. Feed your dreams. Proximity, people, demographics, content, consume yourself with it. And you'll get there. You'll get there. You'll take the mind shift. Real quick, I was listening to a gentleman, comes from a classical Indian family. They came straight from India. They raised in Michigan, and they were just dead set on him being a doctor, maybe an attorney, but absolutely a doctor. And so that was what he was groomed for. Every conversation was that was the expectation of the family. This is what he was going to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He got to a place where he goes, I don't even know if this is something that fulfills me. But he was so worried about, not honoring his parents, quote unquote, not, fulfilling their dreams or whatever the societal push was for him, right? And so anyway, one day he puts up, what do wealthy people do? And he found out what wealthy people did. He realized how they live their lives, how they think, how they do business, how they do their taxes, how they operate in life, how they have leverage in favor. And he had to compare it to where he was going to go medically and what kind of freedom that would mean and what it would take to get the freedom. and he sprung it on the family. He says, I'm not doing this anymore. And the family they lost their minds for a good year and a half. Family members from the old country called, and everybody. Now, of course, the guy has gone on to be extremely entrepreneurial. He's a real estate magnificent in real estate and business, and has millions of followers, and is living his dream with his wife and his kids, experiencing the beauty of what it's like to be an entrepreneur. But he had to break the mindset and the expectation, and all his entire life was feeding that end goal. And when he found out how, he said the real battle was when he made the decision that he didn't want to do that anymore, and he told his family, and he started researching what it really means to be financially free and have success and be an entrepreneur. And he looks at the education system and the expectation of the corporate world and the banking world and all of the protocol that the masses follow. He said it was incredibly infuriating, and he realized how many lies he'd been fed his whole life. And it was a real dark moment, because here he is going, this is a disaster. I may have gotten financially in some places, but I would never have had the freedom or the fulfillment, and I would have been doing it for everybody else. And so he understood banking, understood real estate, he understood taxes, he understood these things, and he realized that what the masses were doing, and what he was fed, and what the schools were telling him, and what the colleges were saying, and what the all the degrees that he was going to pursue, and all the tests that he was taking to be allowed in those higher levels of learning, so he could become these things that were laid basically in his crib. He realized they were all lies. And it's just beautiful to see people break through. So if that guy can do it, if somebody like me that never even went to high school, right, kind of was mercy passed through elementary school, and I finally got my GED. I think it was 1993 I got my GED, and I was in my 20s. And no family, no cultural, there was no support, nobody that thought bigger, nobody that could take me higher, nobody that could give me advice. By the grace of God and by my hunger, we changed everything. I broke the pattern in my life, my wife broke the pattern in her life. Our kids will never deal what we dealt with, and they already think like super entrepreneurial, and they teach us, as a matter of fact. But it's because what we focus on, what our conversations are about. And you'll find that one of the greatest things in the world, and I'm almost done, is not only creating freedom for yourself, but then when you get there, you can show people a real roadmap how to get there as well. And you watch people come alive in a way they never did, never could have, and never would have if you didn't speak life into them and give them those answers that planted seeds of hope that maybe things could be different. So I'll see you guys on the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notifications. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to GabrielSedlak.com. I have an amazing course and some more coming. I have an amazing book to help you take your life to a completely different level. And if you subscribe to the weekly video email notifications, you will get stuff like this right to your inbox every week. All right? Blessings. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.